Welcome everybody, Josh the RV Nerd here with Bish's RV with something that is clearly, I think, a cut above. This is a Pinnacle 36FBTS front bath and a half, well, that sounds like there's a bath and a half up front. Front bath ensuite, middle bedroom, half bath downstairs with just wide body, wide open kitchen living room. And the thing is, this does everything North Point does, and then it goes a level beyond. You can see that in the cabinetry, the equipment. Like, these are now standard, not just dishwasher prep, but with a kitchen dishwasher. You can outfit it with a third air conditioner if you're so inclined, although the two airs that are on this right now have that thing like an ice box. I had to back it down inside, and they are a very quiet system. We're actually going to kind of demonstrate that for you today. 6-point hydraulic auto leveling on these takes all the herky-jerky wiggle-jiggle out of the sucker when you, get to your destination and people move around at night. Very handy if one of you tends to be up and down a lot using the bathroom. I know that as I've gotten older, that's become a more and more common thing, and I don't suspect that trend to end anytime soon. We're looking at one today, not with just their standard solar package, but now one of their enhanced packages, and there's a big level even above and beyond that, and that's the thing. Everything on this is already pretty outstanding by default, and then can go a level beyond. Like their gigantic drop frame storage and the pass-through, having the sewer hose built right on this thing, so you don't have to get pink eye by mixing your sewer hose tube with your, picnic chair kind of stuff. You can add the J-port griddle system onto the back of this if you want to do a little bit of cooking outside. And this is something that my dad always loved about his Pinnacle, has that little outdoor TV. Never really went camping to sit outside and watch TV. Just kind of tuned it into a local station, tried to figure out what was happening in the community, and just sort of played it sort of like AM radio real quiet. We never really cranked it up to 11 to blow away the neighbors or anything like that. That's for the stereo inside. Wait till you hear that sucker. And there have been some people, and I will admit, I historically have been among them, that kind of asked the question, why does Jayco even make Pinnacle when North Point is already so, pretty darn jazzy? Something a lot of people don't realize is, like, not every manufacturer's top-end fifth wheel really lines up against one another. Like, a North Point and a Montana really stack up against one another very nicely, but I'll have people say, okay, so Pinnacle is Jayco's top end and Montana's Keystone's top end, so how do they compare? Well, I mean, there's some similarities, sure, but Pinnacle's going to be more money with more widgets and whiz-bangs. The thing here is that Jayco realized that there were some folks who were looking for beyond, above and beyond. Now, you really see, like, it's hard to just kind of put an exact pin on it, but I guess the way that I can describe it is, like, if an Eagle is a fifth wheel with a bachelor's degree, North Point is a fifth wheel with a master's. And then you go back to school, you get that PhD doctorate in campology. That's where Pinnacle comes in. If you're looking for that ultra plush, full-time RVer kind of luxury feel and feature, that's where this one goes kind of plus ultra. It goes another step above and beyond. And this year, you can, one thing that I think really just kind of helps that is that I'm going to call it the shine factor. Look at the gloss on the cabinetry. It's beautiful. The sheen on it is beautiful, but it doesn't look like waxy cheap. It just looks like polished and refined. And what was funny is when I first saw this debuted for a bunch of dealers like, well, I don't know, if we scuff it up at the dealership, it's going to look awful rough. Well, maybe you ought to not scuff things up at the dealership. I don't know. I mean, stuff happens, but that's not what this is built for. This is built for folks who want to go out and enjoy that really up-end luxury time in their RVs. Carpetless all the way through, of course. Jayco's been doing that for a while, going with a floor flush carpetless slide over the living. This year, though, they have grown the windows. If you notice, there is barely just a vertical seam between those two windows. And from the outside, it's nearly imperceptible the way that they've dressed it up. And they've basically maximized their, I think the windows grew by like 9 inches over there. All windows have day-night roller shades, as you can see. All windows have the airflow effect going on with them. They open. That's what I'm looking for. Sorry, my brain just sort of went like, you know, that that old modem dial-up sound. That's what my brain felt like for a minute there. They've also done things like, it's not just decorative, like it's an all hardwood like island base that they're doing right here. They're just using better materials all the way around. Like where you see a wood top, it's going to be a real hardwood top. The cabinetry is all real hardwood cabinetry. It's not, a lot of manufacturers will say, oh, we have hardwood cabinet doors. Well, and then many of them do, but this is actually stiles and rails. The box portion of the cabinetry is all hardwood in these. There's also things like their BM Pro system really lends itself very, very nicely over here into Pinnacle models, because it not only can you just Bluetooth stuff off your phone and all those things that a lot of smart systems do, but it has these little almost like remote controls kind of hooked onto the walls around the RV, each of which is context sensitive. So when you're sitting here in your theater seat looking at the windows off the door side of the dinette, those buttons do different things than the one in the kitchen or the bedroom or whatever. You know, it all makes sense. And they were really listening to your feedback. If you get in a lot of like full-time RVer groups, people who use RVs a lot, the pleather skin was you know, flaking and fading, and it was getting shredded up too quickly. They went to a cloth touch here, and they also moved like their USB plugs and their controls so that they're not on the inside of the armrest, so that it's not a constant thigh buster. Now, for folks who prefer a little more population control, you got the armrest here, but you can always flip the doodah day that thing right out the way there and have a little bit more of a cuddle compliant seat. And I tell you what, my parents, when my daughter was younger, she'd go camping with them, they just squeezed her right in between the two of them and just loved the whole experience. Now, there's a lot of wide body RVs out there, but Pinnacle and North Point go, again, a little bit above and beyond. They're 102 wide. They are 8.5 foot wide. Most wide body things are 100 or 101 inch. Now, I know that we're literally talking a difference of 1 to 2 inches, but it all adds up, you know? It gives you the nicer, bigger side stands plus a big 3-seater adult sofa on both sides there. Look at the household outlet locations beside that sofa. If you're going to have that thing open as sort of like a guest hide-a-bed, it's even like guest CPAP friendly, which is crazy, crazy cool. They also are going to do some things you'll see, like the overhead cabinets up here have shelves inside them just to maximize the storage. And something you may not have even realized, because my loud noise mouth is just booming away, I've got both air conditioners cranking right now. Listen to this. You basically hear very, very little, you know. And understand, when I stop talking, the camera will literally boost its input volume just to try to hear anything that it possibly can. So what I can tell you is they're doing a pretty solid job over here. Now they've bumped up and upgraded their entertainment center. The JBL system that they have here is another level above and beyond what they were using before, and It kind of appeals to folks like my dad. He's the kind of fellow that every time he moves into a house, the first thing he does is call like the speaker shack people to come out and just, you know, crank up this mega sound system on it, even though he will almost never use it. He loves the idea that he's got these big, loud speakers in his house, because when he was younger and doing more dangerous things, he liked that loud music. As you can see here, you have the power televator with a breeze window behind, or you can use it like a big old serving buffet. And the kitchen in this is pretty fantastic. You see that big symmetrical space where you have pots and pans kind of handle space on both sides of the countertop. One thing I want to do here, though, I want to get down low a little bit so you can see there are some household outlets up under that overhead cabinet there. And the microwave is a stovetop exhaust vent hood combo. It's one of those things because they're using all GE appliances. GE fridge, microwave, like the whole kitchen is a GE suite of things. And one of the cool things about that, something that I discovered, GE actually has their own cooks in-house. So like if, you know, they give you directions on, hey, an hour oven, here's how long you cook a pizza, it's going to come out right. Like, it's just silly little things like that they've done here that I think just make a big old difference. Now, being a little bit bigger body, they had room for a little bit bigger island. But you see that they have now attached that butcher's block cutting board here. A couple years ago, I think 2 years ago now, that was separate and free floating. And it could just kind of, like, it confused some people. They didn't always know where to put it, where to stick it. Now there's just no confusion about it. You flip it up when you're ready. What do you think about, I really like how they did this, by the way. How they went with that one complete full valance all the way at the top, but they didn't put any kind of boxy lambrequins. I think I'm using those words correctly. I get valance and lambrequins mixed up. I think valance is the top thing and lambrequins the side thing, but I'm not really good with my HGTV terms. I call it the boxy thing above the window, and I think that everyone's going to pretty much figure that out. They've also maintained things like this, their drinking water system. This RV has its own separate, like, 5-gallon, basically, Culligan jug that you'll see down in the basement passenger compartment. It feeds that little freshwater drinking port right there, as well as the one coming off the refrigerator and the ice maker in the refrigerator. And with the Jayco in a North Point or a Pinnacle, when you get the big giant residential fridge, you automatically get an 1800 watt inverter, 2000 watt inverter, one of those. Keystone and Jayco both do inverters with their Resi fridges, and I mix up the inverter size between them. Sorry about that. But long story short, you do have inversion on that. Now, taking another look at this, we already kind of saw it up, moving it down out of the way. One of the other things to talk about here is the power outlet up behind that TV is actually wired to the inverter. There's multiple outlets in this RV wired to the inverter, and there's multiple ways to get inverters on this. The residential fridge is certainly one of them, but another one is that if you get one of the more advanced solar packages that are available on these Pinnacles, those solar packages also include progressively larger inverter functions. So there's quite a bit that you can do with it here. It all kind of just depends on where you're going to take your RV, what are your plans, what kind of battery tending and saving do you need, like what sort of comfort factors are going to work for you. The big, Super Solar Plus kind of package that they have, I think it's called, like, Overland Extended or Extreme or something like that. It can provide you with limited function of one of your air conditioners. And I tell you where my family found benefit in that, with some actual experience here. Like, when we were traveling, took a weekend camping trip with my parents, and my wife and I were crashing on their hide-a-bed. My kid was sleeping on the theater seat over there. 5 of us got through fine in a weekend in an RV like this. But what we did is on the way, we stopped at Cracker Barrel, but we have a dog with us. So we set her just inside, cranked up the air conditioner for a few minutes so that it started to cool off. Then we went inside, had our meal, and came back so that our dog wasn't dying from heat stroke. Because I don't know if you've ever been in an RV when the sun's beating on it without the air conditioning running. Like, I do that for a living. It's brutal. It is brutal, and I certainly wouldn't wish that on an unattended animal. I think that's a good way to maybe hurt your dog, or potentially worse right there. So there are some benefits depending on what you want to do with it, because the Mega Solar package isn't going to run the air long enough to, like, totally cool the whole thing. I don't believe that's going to be the case. But for some targeted mooch docking kind of use, it can be really, really awesome. Moving our way up front here, I kind of like the half bath in that it's not just like this extra little thing that they just sort of shoved over here. Obviously, there's plenty of room around that porcelain foot flush toilet, although my right knee was a little bit close to that cabinet, but it's because they actually put some pretty respectably big countertop space in this thing. So that can be good for more than just, quick washing your hands. I don't know. Somebody might make that like a grandkid weekend toothbrush station, something like that. And that's where this is really cool. This big rig, if you are going to have some guests for the weekend, everybody can still kind of have their own little slice of space, like even including this little corner linen cabinet here in the half bath. The one thing I'm going to point out, the half bathroom is the only place in the RV you're going to find the small vent fan, but it's basically, I'm going to call it unceremoniously functioning as the fart chimney for the bathroom over here. It's not really intended to be a major airflow source, and you've got other fans for that. Now, looking at the storage here in the half bath, that's another area where they've actually done quite a bit with it. Now, you might need like a step stool to get to some of that overhead cabinet space right there, but the fact is, if there was an opportunity for storage, they went after it. They didn't waste anything. Now, I mentioned big fans elsewhere. In the front bathroom, the primary bath ensuite, I believe is the term. And up here, you've got a rain sensing max air vent fan to really kind of get the air moving. Now this does have, you see that little white hockey puck on the ceiling, the J voice system. Are there any existing like North Point and Pinnacle owners out there who have one of these that have really found it super helpful and useful? I love the idea of fun techie little stuff. I'll tell you though, even as a techie person, I don't know that I would voice control that a lot, but I will also say, as a counterpoint even to myself, I am a person that asks Siri to do a lot of stuff. No. Siri's in my pocket over here going, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. By the way, in case you're curious, I have my Siri's voice set to a UK gentleman. I call him Richard. So it's always very funny. He's like, let me check your schedule. And I'm like, my what now? Oh, yeah. It also does things like, instead of, go straight for 40 miles, it'll say for 40 miles, go straight on. And I'm like, do what now? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm weird. I put my phone in a weird voice. Anyway, both sides of the bed have USB outlets built right in with those handy little phone extension shelves. But you also have those inverter powered outlets down here. Now, if you're just plugged into park power, the inverter won't do anything. If you're unplugged from park power and turn the inverter on, then you're going to get function out of those. So it's kind of intelligent in that regard. It will sort of auto detect what it needs to do. Now, a lot of manufacturers have kind of killed the window over the bed. Jayco has left it there, and it tilts open for some pretty sweet airflow, which I think is pretty sweet. Because it's pretty sweet. I'm saying pretty sweet way too many times. Up top here, that is one of those like LTE Wi-Fi router kind of jobs. I believe there's a pay-as-you-go kind of subscription plan you can get for one of those things if you're looking for mobile connectivity. And then down below the bed, you might notice the bed base is queen-sized, even though the bed itself is king-sized. If you prefer more room to walk around the bed and, you want more comfort that way, you can always trim the plywood decking under the mattress so that it's just queen size. That's not a problem whatsoever. And if you want to buy a Pinnacle from Bish's RV and the only thing is you wish you had a queen bed base or whatever instead, just tell us, call us. We will take care of that. All your TVs in this, by the way, are Insignia smart TVs. And if you notice, it is downward angled a little bit, so you're not quite wrecking your neck trying to get a peek at that sucker. They're also very good through their entire fifth wheel lineup, where there is a sliding door. The end of it will have like a magnet catch, so just if somebody's walking around the RV at night, it doesn't like wiggle its way open. Just handy little details. Now, I'm standing directly under an air vent right now. That's as loud as it gets in your bedroom, folks. I've got the air running currently, like the compressor. Everything is running currently. So that's about a worst case scenario on one of those. I'm at kind of a bad angle for this, but I think you're going to get the idea. There's absolutely no worry about space around the toilet of this sucker. That is as fluffy, friendly as that thing gets right there. And I think it actually started with the Jayco Seismic, but you see it all over the industry now. That 300-pound rated fold-down seat. Well, giving you kind of a look around this thing right here, you can see that with that vaulted ceiling, even by the side of the RV, where the vault is at one of its more lower points, I still have plenty of headroom there. And then once again, as we move up into the, other than the half bath, you're going to enjoy the bigger vent fan in here. Now, also, just to kind of showcase for you, they have that sort of residential style shower hardware. That's a little different. Last year, I think it was that like slide up down height adjustable thing. And now you see that you've got the little wand to get into the nether regions. You can hose down the undercarriage. You got the little belly blaster kind of job right there. And apparently, you got the shin rinser down below. So you got all kinds of different things going on. And as dumb as it sounds, a shelf in the bathroom, in the shower, is so handy. So many of these RVs have absolutely nowhere that you could like store a bottle of body wash or shampoo or anything. It's just they're dumb in how they're executed, and you don't kind of quite have that here. I tell you what, over here on the left, this is interesting. On the left, it's just tons of shelf storage, but you may notice that the storage actually continues around the corner. This thing has a full 8.5 foot wide front closet that has a stackable washer dryer prep over there to the side beside the shower. So what's cool about this one, you maintain maximum closet space even if you add a washer dryer to it. And with things like the dishwasher now downstairs in the kitchen area, I think that this is a little bit more like full-time friendly than it has ever been before.
and this is just my personal thing talking. We have 2 sinks at my house. It is very useful at my house. I don't know if it's as useful in an RV, but at least in this one, I'm going to give them credit. So many RVs, the second sink is like literally right next to the toilet. I almost said the stove. That's gross. What I'm getting at here is you can actually use both sinks at the same time. You're not tripping over one another. You're not fighting one another for it. It just, if you're gonna do it, I guess this is the way to do it. And surprisingly, all things considered, actually, I'm kind of operating from memory. I can't remember if the road mode's good on this one or not. I don't know. I'll close the slides. Let's find out. Yeah, okay. That's not bad. That's, okay, so the entry door is directly over here on our left. You can kind of see the handle there. And the refrigerator, not the freezer section, but at least the refrigerator, this we can get to. So if you need to make a little traveling Diablo sandwich and a Dr. Pepper, you can do that. Now what's cool here, because the bed's gonna kind of pinch off the upper deck, the half bath becomes our traveling bathroom. And then of course, just around the corner, we've got the bed staring us in the face. So as far as a big giant rig like this goes, the critical travel access features, I guess it's about as good as it's really gonna get. And I know my videos run long, I apologize, but if I was gonna spend this kind of money, I'd wanna learn about it. And people have been asking more often, what slide system does that RV have? Both the slides and the lower deck are a rack and pinion system, including that big kitchen slide. The upper deck bed slide, that is a Schwintek system just for the bed. When we're looking at these big sons of guns, I do believe a big son of a gun of a vehicle is what you're going to want to pair up with them. I think you're pretty solidly by default in dually country right here. Or what if you just, like, some people will like purchase their campsite basically almost like property, and you know, they just have an RV parked there. What if you don't have a tow vehicle? What if you don't want a tow vehicle? Well, you could pay somebody to like move your RV from say like Florida to Michigan and back twice a year, and it wouldn't, I mean, it would save you just ungodly amounts of money as compared to like actual having a vehicle payment, the kind of vehicle that could tow one of these. So if you're looking to just have something parked and enjoy the big wide body space and not the towing factors, well, you know, that might be a way for you to go. But if you are going to be towing, they have what they call their 5-star handling package. So first of all, they have H-rated 17.5-inch Uniroyal tires. Those are some serious sneakers, my friends. They also have factory standard tire pressure monitoring, and I do like that new safety assist rail handle that they have right there. The reason I like it, it folds like straight in and out. It doesn't fold over the door, so you don't accidentally forget that it's behind the slide fascia and crunch your thing. I've seen that happen. I've seen it happen more than once. Or some neighborhood kid who's unmonitored doesn't you know, fold your handle over your door and cause you to break your handle if you want to get out of your RV. You don't got to deal with that here. Their speakers are nice and down low. They actually skirt mount them, which I think is really smart, so that you're not actually even drilling holes in the sidewall for it. And they have a larger 12-gallon vessel water heater. Montana's done something kind of similar, and I asked a bunch of folks who have those, you know, versus an on-demand water heater, have you ever run out of hot water with those? And I've talked to a lot of folks who've done some full timing. They say, you know what, my wife and I are both in that thing all the time. We've never run out of hot water. It's done us just fine. So evidently that thing is big enough that it is doing the trick. Now these are some other towing safety factors. Obviously you have the MORryde pin box, you have the MORryde suspension, the wet bolt fasteners, the bronze bushings, all those things. Basically, if you want to spend a lot of time on a road with a big rig, it's got kind of the equipment to help you get there. The RV now, however, has anti-sway and basically anti-lock braking. So it's the new Dexter tow assist system. So what happens in a panic emergency brake situation, if you stab your brakes on your vehicle, if your brake controller is cranked up high enough because you have this big rig behind you, the tires could lock up. Well, what it will do is it'll allow that tire to keep cycling a little bit so that wherever you steer that vehicle in that emergency maneuver scenario, the RV is just going to follow you. And if you're going down the road, the RV does start to get kind of a little bit squirrely behind you, the anti-sway function will actually lightly activate brakes on the side where things, you know, like if it's swaying to your left, it'll activate that left brake just a little bit, which will pull the RV back straight behind your vehicle. And really, what's great
you don't have to worry about any of that. It just does it. It's just a smart system that just does its thing. And it is something that I am personally a big fan of. I did a video when Lippert came up with their anti-lock braking tow assist kind of system. And I would like to see that on more and more RVs. I like safety features, but it's something that costs a few bucks. So a lot of brands aren't going to do it. A lot of brands just consider it. We're all prepped and ready for side and rear view observation cameras as well, which is kind of cool. You can also sort of use those like a little bit of a security monitor suite when you reach your destination. And this is also very cool. So you may have noticed up front, this RV was not gen prepped. Last year, if you gen prepped your North Point or Pinnacle, you upgraded from dual 30-pound tanks to triple 40-pound tanks. Well, the triple 40 pounds of propane is now standard. North Point and Pinnacle have literally double the propane capacity of basically anybody else, and that is now by default. Now, you can still gen prep the RV. You can still add a generator from the factory. But the fact is you now have massive, massive propane capacity on there. And if you do add a generator, it's a propane generator. So that makes a ton of sense. Now, obviously, we're a big, giant drop frame here because, I mean, holy cow, you could you could smuggle my family into the movie theater with that thing right there, and frankly, would be kind of comfortable inside of it. That is also, so the underbelly. Yeah, the underbelly is forced air heated, enclosed, insulated, radiant barrier. The cavity in here is also forced air heated. You can see the heat duct, and you don't actually see the floor decking that you're walking on in the bedroom and bathroom. You see that double-sided radiant foil right there. So they're creating multiple layers of climate controlled zones basically, so that you know the RV inside stays comfortable. This is a single-headed sewer monster, and if you look at like this railroad tie defining this makeshift camp space that they have here, it looks like the sewer outlet's really low. What you don't realize is look at that tire. The tire is actually way down in a rut, so that sewer outlet is not near as close to the ground as it looks. And a lot of people have asked me, what are these doors on the sides of the slide out? This is a service panel for the residential refrigerator, and they have also made sure, let's just say God forbid this thing flat somehow gives up the ghost, and they are using a a road rated fridge, by the way, but if you flat had to pull this thing, it can fit out the entry door. Now, unfortunately, where we're parked, I can't really get you a great look at the backside of this thing. My apologies. If there's one thing I enjoy, it's taking a great look at the backside of these. But neither here nor there. You've got the J port over there on the side. That is if you want to add the optional little griddle. Basically, it's a standard 2-inch receiver hitch mounted off the side of the RV, but you've also got a standard 2-inch receiver hitch mounted off the back side of the RV for our towing package. 3,000 pound horizontal rating, 300 pound vertical rating with 4-way wiring harness and safety chain hooks. And you can see how the back end of this looks a lot like a motorhome. And apologies, we've got Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy trying to steal the shot right here. He is Groot, by the way. He told me so. But you see the extra marker lights at the top of this thing. That's another tow safety feature. So in addition to the good tires and suspension and pin box and all those things, and the new ABS and anti-sway system and all the camera prep, they also on top of that have their J Smart lighting. So like if you shift into reverse, this thing has 4 taillights, all 4 of which will ignite and really light things up behind you. People are going to know when you're backing up even during the daytime. What's also great on that is this is a long rig. And when you flick on, let's say your right-hand turn signal, all of the lights over here on this side of the RV will blink so that other people can see what you're doing. And little things like that, sometimes it's an ounce of prevention worth, I would say, more than a pound of cure on something like this. So they have like 8 or 9 towing safety factors here. I feel they're actually doing a little bit more here than just about anybody in this class in that regard. So let me know what you think about the new generation, new updates over here. As always, I'll leave you some links to check out pricing and availability. Also, Paradigm, Solitude, there's a lot of different guys. Montana makes big front bathroom models. They all have little things that I like a little bit different than the other. I'd be kind of curious to know which one's kind of your favorite pick and why. Oh, and one other thing. This is pretty much the only member of the Jayco family now that does actually have 2 decors, but really the only thing that's going to change is the island base and the entertainment center will just kind of change from like gray to a little bit of like a grayish kind of thing. Like, there's not big shifts between the two. They have pretty much homogenized their decor, and I'll be surprised if next year they haven't gone to just one single decor on these. But you do still have a choice right there, and if you need samples of those, call our team. When you're ready, we're ready. We don't do hidden dealer fees, we just do everything else. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone. I know this was a long one, but I hope you liked her.